This is another episode of Standup Comedy, your host and MC, celebrating 40-plus years on the fringe of show business. Stories, interviews, and comedy sets from the famous and not so famous. Here's your host and MC, Scott Edwards.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast and the special bonus show. And man, do I have something exciting for you. If you're interested in the comedy industry or you're a stand-up comic yourself, you got to get this new book. It's called Comedy Goes to Court. That's right, Comedy Goes to Court, or When People Stop Laughing and Start Fighting. Anyway, I've got the author here to tell us a little bit about it. Please welcome Carl Unegbu. Carl, I got to tell you, I'm so excited about your book. I got it, an early copy. I've had a chance to read it. It's really easy to read and has some great information about stand-up comedy and the law. What would you tell our audience is the most important reason to get this book?
The most important reason to get this book, first for comedians, you got to get the book because defending against lawsuits has become a cost of doing business. It's going to become the new normal because comedy now is bigger than it was before. Comedy now has a lot more money in it, and comedy now has become the shiny new object for a society like America, where people are addicted to lawsuits. People will literally sue anything that moves. So comedy is a big thing now. So be prepared for that. So it has become a cost of doing business, and you can't avoid it now. So you might as well be ready for it. Know what to say, what not to say, how to make your deal, how to keep your jokes safe, and how to divvy up the money when the time comes. So you have to actually get this book. It's a must-read for comedians. And then for those who are not comedians, because of the society we live in today, with all the polarization and cancel culture and stuff, this book kind of gives you a sense of what free speech is and what the limits are, how to stay safe and away from people who want to cancel you, and how to just, stay a few steps ahead of them. So the free speech section of the book is a big thing that, folks who are not comedians ought to actually read, especially if you want to understand the conversation going on today in our public square, and you want to participate and be safe doing it. This is a have to read for you.
And right, ladies and gentlemen, Carl is so right. It's only $16.99. You can get it on Amazon or go to your local bookstore and ask for it. But what's amazing when I read it was not only do you talk about free speech and contract law and the money that gets involved, but just the business as comedy. And what I was excited about is that your examples, which were real easy to read and understand, and each one of them had a lesson, involved people that I've worked with, but you've all heard of: Jerry Seinfeld, Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien, just many people, Howard Stern, for example, that are known in the industry but have had problems and been sued because it is kind of a litigious society, right, Carl?
Yeah, even people like Donald Trump have sued people, and he's in this book too, big time.
Wow. Well, if you're in a book with Donald Trump, you're doing really good. Hey, also, for those of you that love this industry as much as I do, let me read the dedication right in the front of this book. And I love this, Carl. I'm so glad you wrote this. Here's the dedication in the book. This book is dedicated to the comedy community everywhere and to all who love the comedy art form. Oh, well said. Well said. Nice
Wonderful.
job,
Thanks.
Carl. Hey,
I mean it.
It is so impressive that a lawyer like you is interested in stand-up comedy, and you're able to put these two really diametrically opposed topics and brought them together and able to teach people in and outside of the industry the importance of free speech and how to protect yourself and what happens if it goes to court. Ladies and gentlemen, it's called Comedy Goes to Court. The author is Carl Unegbu. He's right here with us. If you get a chance, get the book on Amazon or go by your bookstore and check it out. Carl, any last words for our audience?
Yes, very simple. The book was written for you, with you in mind, was written by a lawyer, but not for lawyers. It's a book for everyday folks, like the guy riding the subway on the New York train station, or the guy watching a game in the bleachers at the baseball place, just that kind of thing. So it's not a book for lawyers. It's a book written in very simple language that everybody can follow, colloquial, conversational language. It discusses something very important, something you ought to really read about and become aware of and be prepared to deal with and to handle because, these are brave new times in our society and you want to be prepared. Get a copy, read the thing, digest it, discuss it with your friends, and keep enjoying comedy. It's a fun game.
Well, he's right. I've read it, and if I can read it, you can read it. It's very easy to understand, easy writing. Carl, thanks so much for coming on to this special bonus show and telling my audience about your book, Comedy Goes to Court. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday, we'll be back with our regular show. Thanks for listening. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Stand-Up Comedy, your host and MC. For information on the show, merchandise, and our sponsors, or to send comments to Scott, visit our website at www.standupyourhostandmc.com. Look for more episodes soon and enjoy the world of stand-up comedy. Visit a comedy showroom near you.